Hey everyone, I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer, and this is Devin Talks Tabletop YouTube channel where the games are made up. What I say doesn't matter, and I'm going to do a few videos before Christmas because, let's be honest, I'm behind on videos, and I gotta do something about it. So, this is Blade Runner, the role-playing game from Free League, which, if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, I've probably talked about them because they are my favorite RPG company out there. I mean, I do love myself some D&D. Good thing I didn't ruin anything but that slipcover. I love D&D. I love a lot of role-playing systems, but Free League consistently has some of my favorite IPs brought to life with RPGs. And so this is just another reason for me to love them because I do like Blade Runner. I have watched once or twice, I think two different times, the classic Blade Runner movie with Harrison Ford, and then I have definitely seen about 2.5 times, maybe just twice, the new Blade Runner that has Ryan Gosling in it. And I think both of them are fantastic. I think the newer one probably speaks to me more because I think it's visually more engaging. You've got Denis Villeneuve, who's done the new Dune now. And yeah, I think his ability to capture and evoke a sci-fi setting is superlative. Bar none, probably my favorite in movies. And if you are familiar with role-playing systems, this will be not anything that is unusual to you. This is the GM screen, so this is going to sit there and protect all of the crazy mystery from what's going on, and then also give you so many good highlights of the rules that you need to be mindful of. So we definitely do see that there is possibly something similar in terms of stress, and it just showed critical stress. So this might actually be a system that works similar to Alien, which I'm happy with because I really, really, really like Alien. You've got the GM screen here. You got the core rules, which is always going to be like a very beefy hardback. This definitely seems more visually in line with the Alien RPG rulebook. The One Ring rulebook that I have is a much larger departure. They kind of do a kind of like tan or aged parchment look with kind of red and gold and black lettering and stuff. So it is a little bit more bright and also more aged, which matches with the fantasy setting there. But you have, a very, very large set of core rules to get you going if you're going to be kind of deep into an RPG experience and you're the one who has to get everything going. If, however, you're trying to just jump in and see how things are, then you can go ahead and enjoy a starter set. Now, I've said this numerous times. I really do appreciate that RPG systems are understanding of the buy-in and kind of the commitment that it takes to get started in an RPG setting. So having starter sets, having starter boxes that give you access to the world without all of the pressure of a full core rules set and expectations on the players that are coming to the table to do a lot of upfront work on their end, I really do appreciate that. I wish there was a little bit of a deck box just to slot these into, but it is nice to have artwork and cards that can kind of take away some of the mental management that you're doing. And then, of course, you do have custom dice. Usually these starter boxes are going to give you some level of custom components that go along with the style of the game. If this is similar to Alien, you're going to have stuff for failures and for successes. And those custom images, those custom icons that you get on dice like this, they are nice just to kind of be the first visual cursor or hint to what's going to happen. And then also it just makes you feel like you're thematically in that world a little bit more. Here's a games catalog. So if you're unfamiliar with Free League, they really do a lot of my favorite stuff. I think Alien is one of the best role-playing experiences I've had in a long time. I really, really like it. And then they've got the One Ring, so if you're a fan of Tolkien and of Middle-earth, then you definitely have this re-implementation or redesign that is done that is truly exceptional. I'm excited to jump into it. Tales Up From the Loop is another one of theirs. If you're familiar with maybe the Amazon Prime Video series that came out, it's a television series based in that setting, and this is a really unique, kind of like Stranger Things in Sweden in the 80s, but in a very different way. Instead of supernatural with kind of like monsters and dark entities. It is much more of like sci-fi focused and interesting. Forbidden Lands I'm unfamiliar with, but it is kind of classic fantasy. Then you have Twilight 2000, which is a pretty popular one from back in the day that they did a redesign on just recently. Symbaroum is kind of like the dark fantasy, which I think is pretty cool, and I'm excited to check that out at some point. Then you have Vaesen, which is Nordic, and you've got Morkborg, which I think is probably their most visually compelling entry that they have. Really, really beautiful. And then Mutant Year Zero is one of the original ones, along with Coriolis. Both of these have been out for quite a while, I think, and have just had continuing, not expansions, but entries into the universe has been built out. And then they are into board games. They have pushed into that. Tales from the Loop was not their first one, but it is their most recent one. And they also had a Crusader Kings board game that didn't attach to any RPG that they have, but they do have a Mutant Zero, I think, tabletop miniatures game that's coming out. So that's a games catalog for you guys. But then continuing on into the starter box, we have soft rulebook. So this is a soft cover rulebook that is, once again, a condensed version of what you're going to have here. This is pretty typical to give the GM something to focus on and something to do without overwhelming the amount of rules and mechanic considerations whenever you're just trying to see if this is right for you. So case file number 1, Electric Dreams. You've got yourself typically a story arc system. Maybe it's a 1 or 2 or 3 act system, and it gives you pretty much everything you need to know, and you'll have preset characters. And then you've got this I don't even know what this is. This is compelling and exciting to me. It just feels like a mystery envelope, but I'm assuming it's something to do with this case file. And then you have what I also appreciate, which are pre-generated character sheets, which are quite nice printing quality. So you'll have different characters that you can take, and they have their abilities and everything on them to get going. And then they have, the section that you can write on the back. So they might have different styles of play. You have notes that you can take, and then you have different map settings, which give you the blueprints and layouts of the locations that you'll be able to go to. So if you are familiar with Blade Runner, then this visual style is going to make sense. And then sometimes it just depends on which RPG you're doing. Sometimes you'll be fortunate enough to get a very, very big, compelling world building and immersive visual. So this is definitely going to show you kind of like the layout here in central Los Angeles. And I'm assuming all of these points on here might actually coordinate up with some of the more zoomed in and local locations that are in those earlier packets that we just showed. So you have a large map of central LA, you have your characters here, and then you've got these locations, the different apartments and these locations that you might go to. All of this can get you up and running in Blade Runner quite quickly. Blade Runner is definitely one that I think I feel like it's either a strong love or a strong disinterest for a lot of people. It's a pretty divisive and very particular kind of sci-fi setting, cyberpunkish setting. It's set in a very grim dystopia, and you do have this idea of these androids, and you have that kind of ethical quandary of whether those androids should be viewed as people. And I think that it really does go back into that in even more depth in the newer version, Blade Runner 2049, that came out from Denis Villeneuve. But for sure, I like Free League. I like pretty much everything that they do, and this is just another title on the shelf to be able to have access to that is really, really good and exciting. So this is Blade Runner, the role-playing game from Free League Publishing. If you have not played any role-playing games, but you're curious, let me know what type of role-playing game it would take to get you into it. If you are a longtime fan of role-playing games, what are some of your favorite systems? I'm curious because with City of Mists, which I've got right here, and then Blade Runner and One Ring, I've got so many worlds that I want to dive into, and it's kind of just a matter of time. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts, and I'm excited to jump in with you and chat in the comments. So appreciate you all. Hope you're having a good one. See you next time.